Good evening, Fernwood. It is your comment moderating companion, Neil, and it is time for us to watch and discuss another episode of Mary Hartman. This is episode 167, which is the 37th episode of season 2 from November 23rd, 1976. I believe we can recap yesterday. It began with Loretta and Charlie talking to Dr. Fracas about the transplant. Dr. Fracas suggests that things are going smoothly, but doesn't mention that the testicle that is getting transplanted is going to come from Hamlet the Great Dane. Of course, Loretta and Charlie are thrilled that things are moving smoothly. Then Jody shows up and mentions that they need someone to sing at the racetrack. Loretta is at first committed to going with Charlie on his trip to New Jersey. Charlie talks her down, and then Loretta sings a song about leaving half a man and coming back home whole. At the Capri Lounge, Merle finally bites on going political. Then we get a visit from Patty and Garth, who mention that their son Garth is coming home from military school because he's not doing well. Then after Patty and Garth leave, Wanda makes clear to Merle that she would like to be a couple with him, and Merle has to admit that even though he has sinned in his heart in the past, he just doesn't find Wanda attractive. And then we end with a conversation scene at home. After Mary has watched Tom's commercial 6 times in one day, she digs into the motto, "Get out of the house and into the future," and that is something that is really meaning something to her. That is something that she describes as a concept. Mary takes this idea and suggests to Tom that they should have another child, and they get excited about potentially having another son. Mary hides that she really isn't connecting to Heather at all. Tom says that this has nothing to do with Heather and that this child is going to be a union of them, Tom and Mary, and that is where the episode ends. That's all of the recap I've got for you, everyone. Let's go.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman! Now don't laugh. The night is bitter, the stars have lost the glitter, the winds grow colder, and all at once you're older, and all because of the man who got away. Oh, George, whatever happened to you? Oh, I miss you so much. Oh, I'm gonna try a love scene. Yes, that's more up. Oh, yes. Oh, Morton, I love you more than life itself. And I am going to be so lonely without you while you are off in Paris. So just once more, before you go, take me in your arms and kiss me. Did you kiss me? No, on the lips. On the lips.
Martha?
Oh, HB. I feel a little embarrassed. I was just practicing my acting.
Oh, I thought maybe you were feeling sick.
Oh, no, I feel fine. Do I do my first movie scene soon?
At the end of the week.
Oh, that's soon. Oh, that's wonderful. Do I have a big part?
You have the biggest part in the film.
I do? Oh, is it color? You mean I am going to star in my very first picture?
I was almost a star in 2 last year.
Oh, really? Do I get a star on my dressing room door?
I don't think you'll have dressing room.
Yesterday they told you would not go far, and then you open and there you are. Next day up on the dressing room they paint a star. What do you mean I won't have a dressing room? Oh, God, it's not nude scenes.
Oh, no, just more or less street clothes.
What do you mean, Les?
Just whatever you've got on. I wore my double knit sport coat with contrasting slacks and a white vinyl belt to dress it up. But that was only because I was going to my niece's, in the Job's Daughters right after.
Mm-hmm. Then you mean I won't have lavish costumes and a hairdresser like Liz Taylor?
Not in police training films.
Well, what kind of a part do I have?
It's a good part. You get to demonstrate the proper method for a police officer to interview a rape victim with multiple bruises and contusions. We give you a bandage to indicate the contusions.
Do I get to cry? I'm very good at crying. You see, I learned that when Mary and Kathy were very little girls and wouldn't mind. You see, I never could spank them because it always hurt my hand more than it did their bottoms. So I used to just cry and make them feel guilty. You know, like... How could you? How could you do this to your poor mother who worked so hard, works her fingers to the bone? Did you like that?
That's very good. But of course, we can't get too dramatic. More like Dragnet. You know, sympathetic, nodding your head with a notepad so the victim will speak more freely.
Mm-hmm. About being raped? That's very personal.
Exactly why we have to establish the right atmosphere so that the victim is willing to cooperate with the police so that the perpetrator of the crime can be apprehended and brought to justice.
How do you create this proper atmosphere?
By being understanding and trying not to laugh, mostly. Sometimes victims say the nuttiest things. Look, I'll show you. Like, let's pretend that I've just been raped and that you're the police officer interviewing me. Now, remember, be sympathetic and try to look very serious. Okay, now, go ahead and be very sympathetic.
Oh, you poor dear sweet thing. Oh, it must have been just horrible. Now, I want you to tell me all about it, all the horrible details, just like on the streets of San Francisco.
No. You don't want to remind her about how terrible it was. You want to try and get her mind off of that. Okay. Let's try it again. And don't talk about the, terrible part.
Was it fun?
Let's change places. You be the victim, and I'll show you how the interview ought to go.
Yes, I think that's better because I never have seen a rape victim with a mustache.
Ma'am, I'm Detective H.V. Johnson of the Fernwood Police Department. We'd like your cooperation so that justice can be done in this matter. Can you tell me what the perpetrator looked like? Did you get a good look at him?
Oh, yes. He was very close to me.
Did he rip off your clothes?
Well, not all of them. Just enough of them.
Did he say anything to you before he raped you?
She got raped. Oh, Mother. Things like this are always happening to her.
Oh, Mary, I didn't get raped. We're just practicing.
You're practicing for a rape?
No. Your mother was just rehearsing for her first part in a police training film.
In a training film? You're gonna make a pornographic picture? What, are you gonna show a rape on the screen? Mother, how can you do a thing like that? I mean, there'll be cameras there.
You don't understand, ma'am.
Oh, absolutely, I do not understand how a respectable, middle-aged woman can do something like that in the United States of America. This is a bicentennial year. You cannot do that, Mother. That's all there is to it. You cannot do it.
These films are only for the police.
What do you mean for the police? Where do you show them? At stag parties?
Oh, Mary, in this film, all I'm going to do is to show how to interview a rape victim.
Is that all?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes, Miss Hartman.
Oh. Oh, well, that sounds different. I mean, it sounds more educational.
Yes, ma'am.
Less smutty, you know. That could be a very important thing. I could see that now. Not only the catching of the raper's part, but in Ma's case, learning how to talk to the victims without driving them to suicide.
You bet.
They must be very sick people, rapers. Or is it rapees?
Perpetrators.
Oh. Well, a person must be very sick who enjoys perpetrating. Don't you think that sex is a thing that should happen between two people who love each other? Unless, of course, it's just pretend rape, you know, to keep the marriage more interesting.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I read in the papers that a woman gets raped in the United States every 15 minutes.
Oh, that poor dear.
You know what I think would make a good police training film? A film that would train the police to find my missing father.
I can assure you, Mrs. Hartman, that the department is following up all of the clues.
Oh, clues? I didn't know there were any.
There aren't. That's what makes our investigation so difficult. But the one thing we can stop is the activities of these con artists who are trying to get money from your mother with talk about returning her husband from outer space.
Oh, you're really going to do all that? Oh, I'm so relieved.
I'm going to bug this room and get their talk on tape the next time they come here.
Which might only prove that they are innocent. You never know.
That's incredible. That is really incredible. It goes to show that only in America can an average American family have its own personal Watergate. Isn't it?
Oh, Charlie, are you sure you have to have that operation?
Honey, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, just a minute ago there, you know, it just seemed to me like maybe that you were recovering from your disability, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, sweetheart, I know. I felt a little tingle there, I must admit, but I'm afraid I still got my disability.
Well, you're sure? You sure?
Well, about a thing like that, honey, you got to be sure. I mean, it either is or it ain't.
Your disability ain't?
No, honey, my disability is. My ability ain't.
Oh, I was just, kind of hoping for a minute there that...
Sweetheart, it won't be long now. It'll just be a couple of days. Just a couple of days, right?
Yeah.
And then you better get yourself ready, because we're going to have a time, aren't we? Huh? Are we going to have a time or not?
We're going to have a time. We are going to have the best, sexiest, craziest, wildest time we ever had.
I think we ripped the couch. Hey, Jody, how are you, man?
Fine. How are you
Come
doing?
on in. Come on in.
I just wanted to come by and say goodbye and good luck, and I'm just glad I caught you before you left.
Well, I'm just about to go.
All my best, good buddy.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
Hi, Loretta.
Hi, Jody. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I got some good news for you, too.
What?
Well, you know that singing engagement I got all arranged for you to do at the Speedway?
Yeah.
Well, I talked to management this morning, and I have arranged it for you to do 2 additional numbers.
It's plain and simple. Marvelous, Charlie. Isn't that plain and simple?
Honey, they are going to eat you up. They're going to love you. They really are.
Oh, I just thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I mean, I just could kiss you, you know what I mean?
Just hang on a minute here. Only one at a time.
Honey, that's just a matter of speaking, you know,
I know.
to speak. You know.
Sweetheart, I got to go. I got to go just...
Oh, okay.
Well, all my best, Charlie.
Listen, do you want to go to the bus station with us? You can ride down with
sure.
me.
Hey, listen, I want you to know while you're gone, you ain't got nothing to worry about, because I'm going to keep an eye on Loretta.
Just one eye on Loretta, that's all, Joe.
Oh, he's leaving now. He's just half a man with his tears, his sorrow, and his pain. But he'll be coming back in a little while, more a man than Mr. John Wayne.
Hey, let's grab a booth. Let's grab that one before those college kids. Here we go. Yeah. Squeeze right in. Oh, this will be fine.
All right. Yeah, this is fine. This is fine.
Tom, I swear, this thing that you're up to is
excuse
just
me,
about...
wait a minute.
What?
Something's wrong.
What's the matter?
It should be boy, girl, boy, girl.
Boy.
I'll sit over here, okay?
All right, all right.
So let's just
Yeah, I
switch
guess we
around.
switch.
I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah. I got that.
There we go. Okay, yeah.
No.
What?
No. See, this is wrong. It has got to be boy, girl, boy, girl. Okay, Tom.
What?
You sit over there, okay?
All right.
Okay.
All right. No, you sit there. That's right.
Okay.
Now, how's this? All right,
That's
There we
good.
go.
Straighten this.
Oh, that's good. That's much better.
Sure.
Don't you think so?
It is. Great.
It is so nice to get out of the house. I am so glad that you invited us for the evening.
Well, your husband doesn't get to be a member of the Junior Chamber of Commerce every night, does he?
Is he climbing or is he climbing?
Like an ICBM. And this is the celebration.
So, what would everybody like?
What are you having, Mary?
I will have a screwdriver with 2 cocktail onions.
Screwdriver doesn't come with cocktail onions. That's just orange juice and vodka.
Oh, I don't like vodka. What comes with cocktail onions?
Well, your Gibson, and that's with your gin or your vodka.
Ah, does that have your orange juice?
No, that has your vermouth.
Oh, is that sweet?
It's dry.
Oh, it's dry. Okay. I will have an orange juice with 2 cocktail onions on the side.
Are you pregnant?
No, I just love cocktail onions. I find myself lately putting them on Triscuits with Cheese Whiz, you know? Okay, could you put that on the rocks and add some ice?
Okay, we'll have scotch and soda. And Tom, how about you?
Pass.
Oh, come on, Tom, you gotta have something.
Well, maybe later.
Tom, you could have a Pepsi Light. It's very soft and it'll keep you half as thin.
Pass.
Hey, Al.
Hey, Merle Jenner.
Hey, how are you? Good to see you.
Hi.
Everybody's here, huh?
Hi.
Sit down, Mary. How are you? Good to
Pretty
see
good.
you.
I think maybe the next mayor of Fernwood would like to give his congratulations to Tom. Tom just made the JCs.
Well,
That could be pretty important.
congratulations,
Thank
Tom,
you.
really.
Thank you very much.
Could I buy you a drink?
Yes, please sit down.
Yeah, join
Well,
us.
I tell you, I'm waiting for somebody, and I do have a reservation, but
Is Wanda coming? Wanda's coming.
Well, then this really calls for a celebration.
Not your celebration?
there she is. Here we go.
What are we
Is
celebrating?
Wanda's not coming?
No.
Yeah, listen, you can say congratulations to the newest member of the Fernwood Junior Chamber of Commerce.
I am really impressed.
Well, listen, why don't you, sit down, okay? No, Merle, you sit here, and then Annie, can sit there, okay?
Okay.
Okay. This is good now. Now we have boy, girl, boy, woman.
Well, where do you go from here?
Well, we'll probably go home. Tom gets so tired. I hope, are you and Annie here on business or anything? Because I certainly don't want to interrupt anything. I mean, I wouldn't want to get in the way of a squatter's right.
It may have been corruption that brought us together, but it's pleasure that keeps us together. I happen to think this man is irresistible, as well as incorruptible.
Well, this calls for a toast, doesn't it? Bartender, what are you drinking, Annie?
No, I'll have a Diet Pepsi.
Merle, how about you? You still thinking?
Just Wild Turkey Coke, please.
Pleasure.
Coming up.
Yeah, listen, I'll have a Diet Pepsi, too.
You and me against the world, babe.
I don't know if you know, but, Annie has moved out of our driveway. She now lives next door in her trailer in my mother's driveway.
That makes us all neighbors.
Mhm. Which is why we should be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it good for the tires on your trailer to be parked for that long in one spot? I mean, don't they deteriorate or something?
I watch the pressure.
Good. As long as they roll.
Well, here we go.
Oh.
Ready?
Yeah, thank you very much.
Here's to the new manager of Donnelly's RV City and the next mayor of Fernwood. Tom, you sure you don't want a real drink there?
No, this is fine, thanks.
Oh, come on. I mean, you're a big wheel now. You can nibble those Coca-Colas down at the JC meetings any night you want.
Garth, I am an alcoholic.
Well, that doesn't mean you can't have a little drinky poo every now and then, does it?
No booze, period. That's what it means.
I hate to say this, Tom, but they've changed their thinking on that. They now say that a recovered alcoholic can have a little drink, social drink. It's all right now.
Who says?
It's a scientific fact. As a matter of fact, in today's Courier, there were 3, I think, letters to the editor just about just that.
I read them. Do you know who wrote those letters?
People from Fernwood, I imagine.
That's right. And it happens that one of the guys owns 3 bars in town. The other one is a wholesale liquor salesman. And the other one is an officer in a distillery company.
How do you know that?
Well, I made it a point to find out.
Good for you, Tippy Toes.
Thank you, Tom.
As a matter of fact, I'm feeling very high right now.
Well, I imagine you are, considering all these good things that have been happening to you, Tom.
You don't know the best of it.
Time down.
No.
What?
I gotta
What?
tell him.
What?
We are going to have a baby.
Who?
Tom.
You are pregnant. Why were you pretending you weren't pregnant?
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's great.
This calls for another round. Bartender, fill them up.
When are you expecting the new arrival?
Well, I can tell you exactly 9 months from last night.
Well, which is why I felt it was a little early to mention, you know.
Oh, well, then I see why you weren't sure.
Yeah, and it's not going to be exactly 9 months.
Well, more or less.
Yeah, or more like less.
What do you mean by that?
Well, being 5, which is more like less than 9 and more.
What are you talking about?
We're going to have the baby in 5 months.
Oh, wait, that's impossible, isn't it?
It would be impossible if we were, having the baby, and we are having the baby, and if it were going to be ours, and it is going to be ours, but it isn't going to be ours, if you know what I mean. I don't know if this is something that we should discuss in front of the others. We are going to have a baby, but it's not going to be Tom and mine's.
Mary, what are you talking about?
Tom, maybe this is something that I actually should have talked about with you before, but I am not actually going to be having the baby myself. I mean, I will after it's born, but I will not be making the actual trip to the hospital.
Who is?
Kathy. She's going to go instead. What's happening here is we are going to adopt a baby that my sister Kathy is going to have in 5 months. Oh. That is, of course, if it's all right with Tom, of course.
Yeah.
Well, then it can't be Tom Hartman Jr.
Well, of course it can. It's like when you get a puppy and you call it Duke, even though the people at the place where the litter was born called it Spot. It's like that.
As always, there is a lot going on in this episode, and there's a lot of things I may miss because even though there were just 3 scenes in this, I feel like a lot of subtle bits will drop away. So if I miss anything, just throw them in the contents, but I'll do my best. In any case, we see Martha missing George, and since I've been looking at the credits, which I don't share with you, we know that George isn't in the show anymore, but she's still really quite sad, and that's a definitive part of her character now, that she is longing Then HB shows up and we talk about what it is to do police training and acting for police training films, and as a person who's done a fair share of police training acting, I won't say that it's really anything like that at all. It's definitely not. Then we get on to a topic that could be quite heavy and isn't treated so. You know, in the 1970s, I guess, people didn't feel quite the same about it as they do now, but I think it's fair to say that and I can't speak from my own experience, but talking to friends or listening to what people have to say, I know a lot of women who feel really uncomfortable going to the police, or who would feel very uncomfortable going to the police after a sexual assault. And the training that HB suggests, or the angle that HB suggests for how a police officer should interview someone is definitely questionable, but I can see where the writers were coming from, not necessarily understanding what a police officer needs to get out of this interview. But I will say that in an interview with someone who has gone through a crime, you want to validate the emotions that are happening. Those emotions are real, and you want to gather as many facts as you can. And that's any crime, you know. I've watched a few too many videos of people lying to the police to say anything beyond that, you know, since there's just so much lying to police that happens that I don't know how to respond to this specific question. But if someone has been a victim of a crime, you've got to validate the emotions. What they're going through is awful, and you want to find the facts. Beyond that, I don't know that I can talk about it. I can't speak from any other perspective, but that's definitely where what needs to happen in a police interview. Then Mary shows up and confuses the training, Martha getting trained for the shoots, with an actual assault, and then confuses it even more with a porn film. I don't think Mary has a very clear picture of what's happening. And then we get a few other beats, like Mary wants the police to be looking for George, and he's just not coming back, but that's where we are. And, you know, she still has that really odd relationship to HB. You know, she stares up his chest toward him. I think it's just funny because of how tall he is and how short she is. You know, their height difference is something that they're playing up there. And I remember in the first season with Howard McCullough being so tall, and he'd often have to lean over to get just normal eye contact, and HB and Mary never have to get normal eye contact. They always get this weird angle, which I think is right, because Howard and Mary were friends, and HB and Mary, it's a different kind of relationship. I think father figure is where Mary was, you know, the other day, although it's still very odd. Then we cut over to the Haggers, and Charlie is heading off to get his operation, and Jody comes over leaning like a freaking movie star in the doorway as he walks in. You know, he's like just doing that lean. I can't do it because I've got nothing to lean on, and also I'm not that fit. But he comes in, and there's more songs for Loretta, and that's good news. And Charlie is heading off. It feels like they're leading towards something between Loretta and Jody. I don't know. I hope not, but I expect so. And then we get our bar scene with all of these various dynamics, and I think this is the one that I don't know how to straighten out the beats here. But you know, first Mary insists on boy girl, and while I don't get it, it leads to a fun little bit later on. that rearranging of seats was a lot of fun to watch. Then we get into the various points of view of the various characters, because we are joined by Merle, and not Wanda, but by Annie, which, I noticed a little chemistry between Annie and Merle when they first met. But to see Wanda's place being taken by Annie, was a surprise. Mary is still, subtly uncomfortable with Annie in general, even though Annie's on a date with Merle. Was boy, girl, woman, I think is what she said, which was, I was amused by that. We see Garth advocating for Tom to take a drink even though he is an alcoholic, and I think Annie is doing what in today's world would be, fact-checking and advocating for actually knowing who is writing the stuff that you're reading is, that's very cool. I think Annie is such a cool lady. I don't know that she has a point or a point of view other than to be a foil for Mary in some ways. Maybe in this case Wanda, but she is adventurous and she is smart and she's older. She's like the same age as Martha, which makes her like my age. But to see her in this, yeah, I get it. Wanda is not going to be happy about it, but also Wanda's not actually dating Merle. Like, Merle was, as I mentioned, very cruel with Wanda. She made her play and it didn't go. And then we get to, and this explains something I was very confused about yesterday with Mary suggesting having a baby, because this is not what I understood when I was watching that scene yesterday, but Mary kept insisting that the baby would be part Kathy, like my sister, and I was really confused about that because it was related to Heather and Kathy, and now I get it, because Mary's plan that she tried to talk about, a couple days earlier, last week I suppose, was to adopt Kathy's baby and not to make a baby on their own, which is what Tom thought and what I thought. So Mary's communication not so clear. I was confused at first when she suggested that she'd have the baby in 5 months, and that the father would not be Tom. I definitely thought it was going to be, who I thought it was going to be. If you haven't been watching, go watch those episodes already. It's going to be Kathy's baby is the plan, but I think maybe, and I don't mean maybe, I mean Mary buried the lead, and wow, that came as a punch. It was just a lot. And I can't imagine what Tom is thinking at this point, because youch. So everyone, that is our Tuesday episode this week. Thank you so much for coming along and doing what you do. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. We have a lot to talk about in this episode, so I want to talk about it. Let's get those comments going. Thank you again for watching with me, and we will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.